Hey folks, my name's Ed Travers. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an Anglican priest serving in the beautiful parish of Christchurch-shelburne that sits on the ancestral and on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Today, I want to talk to you about two former Southern Baptist churches that have been thrown out of the Southern Baptist Convention. The churches are Townview Baptist Church in Kennesaw, Georgia, and St. Matthew's Baptist Church in Louisville, Kentucky. They were thrown out of the Southern Baptist Convention. The word is disfellowshipped, is the proper word used by the convention. They were disfellowshipped because they have chosen, as congregations, to affirm homosexuality. They've decided to affirm, to be inclusive congregations to people regardless of their sexual orientation. I just spent the last hour after reading about this wandering around that church you see behind me, because when I get really angry, I want to stand in front of the camera, and I just want to sort of rant. Because while you may believe this to be a very calm, a very, very soft-spoken, Mr. Rogers type place to come, I am still internally a Miramichi born and bred individual, and oftentimes my base instinct, the first place I go, is one of blind rage. And so when I read about this, I went to that place of blind rage, and I walked around this church for 40 minutes trying to figure out how to offer you an opinion that wasn't just me yelling at you, like you had something to do with this. And I don't want this to become one of those things where we talk about, the evils of the Southern Baptist Church. That's not what this is about. I was saved in a Southern Baptist church. I cherish what I learned in my Southern Baptist church. I love what they offered me. I love what I was able to glean from them. It matters to me. That time is incredibly important to me. So this video isn't about knocking them. This video is proclaiming these two churches as Christ's churches. They've done what we are all called to do. They have, despite the fact that as members of the Southern Baptist Convention, they would have been expected to follow particular values, particular ideals, a particular morality. They would have had a very particular theological base from which they would have taught from. They chose to step away from that place of intense comfort, because it is incredibly comfortable to know that you're surrounded by rules and policy and values that are supposed to keep you from straying off the path of Jesus Christ. But they chose to step away from that because they felt Jesus calling them in another direction. They felt Jesus calling them to welcome, to include others, to offer His love, His mercy, His compassion, to offer His charity, to offer His call to purpose and mission, to offer all that He is, and therefore offer the essence of God to those who've been excluded from these fellowships, from these moments, from these opportunities for intense agape love, where they are connected to the divine through a community of believers. These two churches have done the courageous thing. They have chosen to follow Jesus' command to step outside of our place of safety, to put ourselves at risk, to become vulnerable in order to be there for the marginalized, for the vulnerable, to defend the widows and the orphans, as the scriptures say. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know all the ins and outs of these particular churches. But I will say this. In this context, in this situation, they are living the life we are called to live. They are doing what we are called to do. They are stepping out courageously as we are called to step out courageously. They give us a wonderful example. They give us a wonderful example. Now, the Southern Baptist Convention, and I quote, says, "These actions were necessary and proper." And I believe they were, because now these two churches are able to reach people that they weren't able to reach before. They're able to speak a language that they weren't able to speak before. They're able to include people that they weren't able to include before. They are able to share Jesus Christ with people the way Jesus should be shared. And I pray God's blessings will be upon them. I pray God will make them houses of courage, where they are abundant and thriving, where the love of Jesus Christ exudes from them in every way, shape, or form, where God's light and life and love shines like a lighthouse on the shore. I pray they become havens for all those who are seeking a place of comfort and rest. And I pray all of us can learn from them. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you, and may you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that the example of these two churches in this moment offer you the same sense of joy, the same sense of hope, the same sense of strength that it offers me. Amen.